folks, please bear with us. We just came back from summer break. We're still like moving in and stuff. As you can see,
man, that thing is crooked bad.
It's crooked as hell.
So don't flame us. Just take it easy, please.
Just take it easy on us, all right?
It's not crooked. Just turn your phone a little bit aside.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. All right.
What's good, y'all? It's the 3MDs.
We're back. We just came back from summer break. So we're second years now. Just finished and completed our first year, and we just want to pretty much break down in this episode how we navigated through first year. So Ken, go ahead and start off.
So when you get to med school, you'll notice that everyone has their own schedule. Everyone does everything differently. So the way I study is not the way they study, and the way they study is not the way I study.
Yeah.
I'm not an early morning person, so I wake up at 7:30 on average, and I'm probably in class by 8:57, right in the nick of time.
Right in the nick of time.
So,
headphones on.
on. Man, I have to listen to that music, bro, always.
Get you pumped.
Yes. So we're in class usually from 9 to 12. From 12 to about 1:30, that's when I usually go to the gym. 1:30 to like 3, that's when I come back home. I'll probably watch a Joe Budden podcast. I eat my lunch, and then I usually take my nap. Me personally, I take naps like all the time, probably like 5 times a week. It's because I don't drink coffee. It helps me. I'd rather study. I don't like studying when I'm sleepy, so taking a nap before studying always works for me. Helps me recharge. Depending on the material I need to do, that's when I would start studying, reply to my emails, check on my family. That's when I just like start my grind, right? What helped me the most during first year was Notability. Listen. You get your iPad, right? You get your iPad, you download Notability. It's like, I think $10, but dude, it's so worth it. So basically, we have all my subjects that I did. So we had like biochem, pharmacology, anatomy and immunology, cardio, respiratory, yada yada yada. So we would take notes in class, and I basically take a picture of my notes. Oh, sorry, my fault. I basically, this is the scope. I basically take a picture, or downloaded this document, and I'm annotating everything that we're going over in class. And I pretty much use this to study with the addition of like first aid. Long story short, first aid is the Bible of med school. So everything that I learned in class, I usually incorporated into my first aid notes. By first aid, put that thing in a binder, then take out the specific few pages for each class. So for in cardio, I take out whatever 30 pages are relevant to cardio and add my notes there. Actually, my good friend Abe, Ambitious Abe, y'all probably know him. He actually has a very good link of how he used first aid, and we'll drop that down below.
Why is first aid even important in the first place?
First aid is really important because it's kind of like, think of it as like a skeleton of everything you need to know for your USMLE Step 1 exam, which is the most important exam of your life.
Yeah.
And first aid really just gives you a summary of what's considered high yield, and a lot of what you learn in class is supposed to help you for step 1.
Yeah.
Use first aid, and we have that link down below on how to incorporate it from our guy Abe. What about you, Trev? How was it?
Last year it was a little bit harder to make a schedule because our schedule first year was a little bit sporadic. Sometimes we'd have class at 8, sometimes we'd have class at noon.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be at 1, and the days it was kind of going on was a little wacky as well. But this year, it seems like it's a little bit more stable, so I've made sure to make a more stable schedule. And what that being is that in the morning, I usually wake up at 6:30, and I do Anki. And Anki is basically a database where they have a bunch of note cards that somebody, by the grace of God, has made for us medical flashcards. I'm sorry, that somebody has made, and it basically does a full review of every subject that you'll learn in your first 2 years of medical school. Or you can do it from 3rd year, 4th year, whatever it is. But I'm doing the ones for the first 2 years, and it's helping me refresh everything that I've learned. And then I go in and I eat breakfast, go to the gym, and then I'll review for what's going on in class. And then after class, right now, I just got onto a research project, so I'll be working with an orthopedic surgeon. So I'm starting to incorporate that into the end of my day routine, and then I'm now currently doing questions from UWorlds and USMLE RX, and that's really to start getting prepared for, like he said, the biggest exam of probably your medical school career. It basically decides what kind of doctor you can be. So you usually want to do, well, not usually, you want to do really well on that always, no matter what specialty you want to go into.
Definitely.
Because you can't go in there wanting to do 70% because I mean, the test is hard, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You try to do 70 and you might get a 30. You know?
Yeah.
Go for 120%. You don't want to miss a single question.
Yeah.
And, you know, the
And
cards
then
may fall where they be.
You use Anki because of spatial repetition, right?
Yeah.
So explain to them what that
Yeah,
is.
so Anki uses spatial repetition, and what it is you'll do a card, for instance, and if it's easy, you can say, I want to see it, 3 days from now, right? And if it's hard, they'll say you can do it 10 minutes or a minute or the next day, right? And basically what it does, it allows the things that you know, like the back of your hand, it starts spacing those out days in ahead, right? So one would be 3 days, then maybe it'd be another month before you see it. The harder things will be every day or every 2 days, right? And basically it gets you in the habit of seeing everything multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So with this specific Anki deck, there's about 10,000 cards. So you basically have to get through 10,000 cards, and it's spacing things based on how easy or how well or how comfortable you are with the information. So by the end of it, my goal is to get through Anki a complete time. UWorld has about 2,500 questions, and USUMI-RX has 2,500 questions. So we have to get through both of those about twice each as well. So it's really about being as efficient as you possibly can this year, because one, you have to still stay up on classes and do well, because you have to learn this new information.
Your responsibilities do not go away.
It don't change. You just have more responsibilities on top of it.
Pretty much.
But like my guy Ken always says, if you're trying to be a raw guy, you got to be raw.
All right, so pretty similar to these guys. I'd wake up in the morning early, wake up like maybe 5, 6, just to knock the gym out of the way. Come home, make breakfast, and then get ready for class. And then after class, I might watch a Netflix episode here or there. Maybe a podcast. So, just did quote unquote bullshit hours. And then I'll get serious and then start studying and things of that nature. So like Ken mentioned, one of his favorite resources is Notability, where you can organize all your notes and things. And Trevor was talking about Anki, which is really great for spaced repetition. Me personally, one of my favorite resources first year was just using my whiteboard, pretty much with the dry eraser marker. And what I did was, I'd study, I'd read what we need to learn for the material that day, and then maybe the next day I'd see what do I know, what can I just write about, just off of the knowledge of that I have at the moment. And then based on my weak or strong areas, I'd then go back and review what I need to know. And it really, really did help me, because it gives you a lot of confidence just knowing that you're able to go and teach it to yourself. You can teach it to somebody else. So I definitely say that was one of my favorite resources as well. But so we also used a couple things like Boards and Beyonds and things of that nature. Do you guys want to go into detail quickly?
Boards and Beyond is just basically a subset of videos dedicated to each subject that will be tested over step 1, and kind of a rapid review of what you need to know. So very efficient to watch before class. So let's say we have a genetics lecture. Then before I read my genetics textbook, I'm going to watch a genetics video, so I have an idea of what they're going to ask. Another good resource is Pathoma, very similar to Boards and Beyond in terms of giving you a brief summary of what you need to know, but there's more pathology related. You also have Sketchy Micro, Sketchy Farm. Hey, if it's not on Sketchy, I don't care about it. I don't care.
Really good.
So, and that's just giving you the hard facts about the bugs and the pharmacology that comes in med school.
And so you use Sketchy a lot as well too, right? Why did you like Sketchy in a sense? What was so good about it for
so I'm sure you guys don't know what in the world we're talking about right now with Boards and Beyond and Sketchy and everything. But essentially what Sketchy does is there's over, I'm just going to throw out a number, maybe 5,000 different microorganisms that you need to know like your hand, right? What Sketchy does is it sets a scene, right? And it can be the scene just like this. And it'll say, for instance, Derek represents
Staph aureus.
Right?
Gold yellow shirt.
And the gold yellow shirt represents the type of auger that he'll grow on, right? And it basically gives you this picture, and it describes everything within that scene, and it allows you to associate that picture with whatever the bug is. And then I think it's really helped me personally, because I can literally go through 100 different stories in my head and be like, okay, I remember Staph aureus does this because I saw this in the picture, right? How it transmits, how to treat it, what the characteristics of the bug are, just based off that one picture.
Information, based off of that scene.
So the name of the game is to be efficient. And as long as you're efficiency, because you have so much things you need to learn in med school. So just kind of condensing what you used, the research you used to study, and then doing repetition over and over again, it's going to help you be the most successful.
And I definitely say, for those who are going to be matriculating to med school or not in med school yet, when you get here, you want to make sure that you find the research that works best for you, because something that we tend to go through is like resource overload. It's like we don't know what to choose from. There's just so many things out there. So definitely find something that works for you, and for the most part, stick with it. Don't be afraid to try something new, but stick with it, because there's a lot of them out there.
So what's good, y'all? One thing that we promised ourselves when we came to med school is that we didn't want med school to turn us into zombies, right? We didn't want to just be solely dedicated to the books, because at the end of the day, we're still human. We still came in as people who did things for fun, So one thing we did specifically a lot was travel. We were actually fortunate to visit a lot of places, Nashville.
So we went to Nashville,
New York, Los Angeles,
DC,
Chicago, Houston. He went back to Seattle many times. But we managed to do that while also studying. And we just kind of planned our travel dates kind of around our exam dates. So if we knew that we wanted to go to this place, we usually had exams on Thursdays or Fridays. So we would be out Thursday night or be out Friday during the day, and we'll come back Sunday evening. But if we, and this is usually after an exam or given the breaks that we have within the school year. So it's not like we were like, oh, we're about to travel here and just miss class. That really didn't happen.
Not at all. Priorities first.
But if we knew that we were going to travel, that's when we took sacrifices upon ourselves to okay, instead of me staying up till 12, man, I need to stay up till 3 to read ahead or to do extra questions to make sure that while I'm on this quote unquote break, I don't feel guilty and I'm not trying to do Anki cards when I'm supposed to be living my best life,
Yeah.
What about y'all?
Yeah, so pretty much similar to what you said, is just planning ahead, and that's one of the biggest things. I mean, if you guys watch the first episode, that's one of the biggest things that I stress, is time management and being able to be organized and see okay, I gotta do this accordingly to how I want to move within the next couple of days. So whether it's reading ahead, maybe reading a couple more days ahead, or just staying up later that night. We just pretty much did what we had to do, and it was really, really rewarding, because we were able to balance school out and still able to have fun. One of the first things that we did was we went to Tennessee for the Nth Dimensions conference, and so it was knocking two birds at one stone. You're going to a place where you're exposed to a lot of professionals, especially this mainly for orthopedics and things of that nature. You're exposed to professionals, but we're also taking the time to sightsee. So it was just and it was a good time too. Listening to good music. And funny enough, the idea for this idea came while we were in the car, just having chopping it up, having a conversation. What can we do to sort of kind of get back? So yes, it's very much possible to be in med school and still be who you are. Stay true, authentic to who you are. Whether it's traveling or whether it's picking up a hobby or doing that's one thing that I like about our class too. A lot of people have different hobbies and people are into different things. So it's really, really rewarding. So Trev, why don't you start off with one of your hobbies? We've spoken about traveling, but why don't you start off with one of your hobbies?
Yeah, and before we get into hobbies, there was something that a doctor that works at the school, I don't know if I can really say his name, but he told me, whatever you did before you got to medical school, continue to do that, because that's the reason why you're here. It was the reason why you're here is because the things that got you here works for you, right? And don't change that up once you get here. It's just improving on becoming a better person.
Yeah.
And with becoming a better person, I've been trying to find hobbies, things that interest me, that were actually conductive to my time and learning new things. I am really big on reading African American literature and just literature about economics and how to build your own wealth. But I've also recently got into photography and gardening. My brother, I'm gonna give you a major plug, Corey Boy, he has his own garden, and basically he's eating fresh, right? He's growing his own squash, kale, lettuce, everything, and he's cooking it, right? So I really wanted to incorporate that with what I'm doing here and really learn the gardening process and how to build your own food, because personally when I go to the grocery store now, I've personally seen that there's been a decline in the quality of food.
It'll be rotten. And 1 week, man.
Yeah.
What am I spending money for?
I know where I'll be coming.
after seeing my brother and how he did it, there was a light bulb that went on my head. It was like, okay, I can really do this on my own, and it'd be something that is like necessary, right? You should know how to make your own food. You should know how to build your own things. Learn how to change your own car. But photography was something that I've dedicated what I call creative hour, which at least an hour a day, I'll try to do something creative, and I'm learning how to edit photos and do all these things, and it's just keeping my mind running and fresh, so I'm not 1,000% in doing questions, because burnout is real.
For me, one thing that I kind of took up before medical school is reading. I used to read a lot when I was younger, and then kind of stopped in middle school and high school and even in college. But in a few years off, like I said, okay, I don't want to be ignorant to a lot of things, so I wanted to read. Just like Trev said, like one thing that's important to me is like kind of like building wealth and being financially stable. I don't come from a place where we learn a lot about financial literacy, so I really wanted to take initiative and do that myself. So I've read White Coat Investor. I recommend this book to anyone who's in the health professions, just so you know, learn about like, okay, the type of debt you're going to be in, how to pay off your debt, the lifestyle to live while in residency, so you can live the lifestyle you want post residency. One book that I'm reading right now, you know what I'm saying, I can't really say it, but it's The Subtle Art of, So I think that's a really solid book. The Invisible Influence, Black Privilege, really, really good. And I know y'all see this Harry Potter book right here. Listen, I still don't know what happened at the end of Harry Potter. I actually got this from one of my line brothers like 6 years ago. I promise you, like, in the next 5 years, I'm gonna finish this book. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this book. So what about you, Derek?
Alright, yeah, so for me, recently one thing that I've gotten into was video editing. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Like, I've always been intrigued by like how people like add special effects and all that kind of stuff, and just that's definitely one thing that I've taken up. And in addition to reading a lot, more specifically reading about like the current trends in like the globe, and like how what's the like next best thing that's coming out, whether it's in terms of energy infrastructure or just like space or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. That's my guy. I know people think he's a little crazy, but yeah, Elon is definitely one of my favorite people, just because of like his vision and how he wants to just move humanity forward. And that's something that's always piqued my interest in terms of just being financially stable, being financially aware. That's one thing that I do keep up as well, just because those are things that people can invest in. Those are things that like you can be a part of as well too. So I mean, the trick is you want to know before everybody else does, in that sense, So that's just like one thing that I've taken up, and for the most part.
Yeah. And Trev talked. I like what he said about giving himself a creative hour.
Yeah.
I think that you should always do something outside of medicine just to keep yourself sane. So like I said in an earlier episode, like I'm really, really big on music. So I listen to it every day. I literally walk into class with my headphones on,
Literally.
I dedicate time to like listen to music. Like I listen to it in the shower, and it's like more like therapy for me. So actually I'm gonna start like just dropping music that I listen to on our page. So look out for that. We're also gonna drop like videos of us traveling to different places, so that y'all can take a look in the life of what we do on a normal basis. Like they said, always what you ever did in med school, whatever you did before med school, continue to do it. Another interesting fact, like before med school and stuff, like I've always really, really been into shoes, and I kind of collect them, So, So these are one shoes that I have here, and I'm gonna start posting like my favorite shoes, just so I can show other students like, you can always be who you were like before med school. You can always be
authentic to yourself.
Yeah, be authentic to yourself.
Sure.
So yeah, we're about to start showing y'all our creative side and showing us everything that we do outside of medicine, so y'all can get a holistic view of what it is to be, a real
raw guy.
Alright, so thank y'all for tuning in. Catch y'all next episode. Peace.
Alright, guys.
Yeah.